Hi, this is Andy Reid, chairman of the Isolation Island Concours, and welcome to the 2021 spring edition of our Concours. I want to thank everyone in advance for entering the show, and we hope you've had a lot of fun doing this, as we have as well. I'm honored to have a lot of great sponsors at this show. Those sponsors include Haydenwood Insurance, Motorology, Sports Car Market, Magneto Magazine, Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, Carlisle Events, and Sports and Specialty Restoration. I also have a new chief judge with us this year, and it's Jay Ward of Pixar, who I've known for years, who's a diecast collector as well as in charge of many things to do with cars and a collector of cars. Hi, Jay.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
With no further ado, let's move on to the awards. I know you guys have all been waiting for a while. We've had our technical glitches and our schedules have taken off a little bit lately, so we've had less time than we used to have. Class 1 is Founding Fathers for pre-war American and pre-war European, and that goes out to Conrad Van Dorf for his Bugatti Type 35. It was an amazing car. He's been entering almost the entire run of the Concours, and his quality is always tremendous.
Class 2, which is the Porsche There Is No Substitute class, covered Porsche from 1939 to 2005. And the winner is Patrick Chalik with a Porsche 934.
Yes, a weird car. A street version as well, which is interesting. Class 3 is the Ultimate Driving Machines BMW 1929 through 2019. It goes to Peter Singhoff, another photographer, for his triple play, I call it, of BMW 328s. When Tom and Eric saw this, they said, "Oh wow, it's just him." And Peter was second in a number of categories that he entered, because he could enter 3 this time. But a really, really nice presentation, great story told about the cars and everything else.
Beautifully photographed too. Yeah, those are great.
Indeed.
Class 4 is "Oh Lord, Won't You Buy Me a Mercedes-Benz?" And that goes to Amar Jalla. He did the Herman Lang Mercedes W165, the 1939 racer, which is such a cool car.
Yeah, he did a great job, and it's his first time entering the Concours of any kind. And it was just, he did it amazing. He really must have paid attention and looked through past Concours to see how people were doing it, because it looked like he'd been doing it since the beginning.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't get it right away, but it's not just the die-cast itself. It's how you photograph it, the storytelling, the lighting, all these things play into it. It's really a composition deal, and he nailed it. Absolutely agree.
He really did. Class 5 is Rule Britannia, and it's British cars 1921 to 2010. And people are going to say it's not a British car, but they were all made in England. The award goes out to Sean Delaney for his Ford RS200. And these are British cars.
Very British, yeah. Correct. There is a Ford of England that made different cars than Ford in the U.S., so you are right.
Yep.
Class 6, La Vita Voce instead of La Vita Dolce. Italian cars from 1921 to 1988. Winner is Nick Muller for his 1980 Fiat 131 rally car. Really, really cool car. Really well done. Really well photographed.
Yeah, and it's the Rohrer car, so it's interesting. Walter Rohrer's racing car, which is neat.
That's correct.
Yeah, and it just looked really cool. It looks like a real car. There's a couple of these that really look like real cars, and it's kind of crazy.
That's what you want when you don't see big chunky scenes or things that throw away the scale. It really does kind of help sell it.
Indeed, it does. Okay, for the next class, there's notice a trend here for American Iron, which is Class 7. It goes to Nick Muller for his 1965 Shelby GT350R. And did you look at that one?
I did. Pretty cool as well.
The intake manifold and all this stuff and the scoop there. I mean, it looks real.
To me, what's really great is when you can't tell if they have made this model or if they purchased it and modified it or if it's an off-the-shelf. Most of these are modified at the very least. Some of them have completely scratch-built elements, which adds to it quite a bit.
Yes, it does.
Well, next up in our classes is the Isolation Island Raceway slot car set. This one goes to a guy named Arnie Press. He did a Lotus Type 49, the Jim Clark car, and did a really beautiful job telling the story of it and comparing it with real photos of the car, and just nicely presented. So congratulations, Arnie.
Yeah, he's been a long time entry, and he's always done a really good job. And this just spoke to those guys, and it doesn't hurt that like Bobby Rahal is a huge Lotus fan, so that's definitely part of what's going on there.
Well, Jim Clark too, one of the greatest of all time. Period.
Of all time. Next one is Dream Cars and Scale. This is a new class, and this was people are always saying, well, wow, why don't you have an unlimited class for cars that we completely build by hand or we paid lots of money for? And I said, okay, we'll do that, but you can't win Best of Show. And so we had a lot of entries, which surprised me. So it went out to Stuart Hobbs for his 1932 Mercedes-Benz race car transporter. And you have to take a look at this if you haven't seen it. It's an extraordinary build.
Yeah, really, really, really well done. He picked a super obscure car transporter that was almost like a car with the back half modified to receive a race car, and he did it. He just nailed it. It was great. Good. All right. So our next class is Class 10 called Redline Fever. This one goes to Marcus McLaren for his McLaren M6A. Now, Andy, as soon as I saw Mr. McLaren won for his McLaren, I had to ask, is there any relation?
No, not at all. But he has entered a McLaren 2 or 3 times in different rounds of the Concours.
I really like this class because the cool thing about Hot Wheels is, Redline, of course, refers to the vintage Hot Wheels. They're accessible to everybody. They're inexpensive, and you see there's a whole market of people that rebuild these Hot Wheels on YouTube, drill the rivets out, take them down to bare metal and rebuild them, and it's really unlimited. I've seen everything, and it's really, really well done. So I'm glad you added this class.
Yeah, I think it was fun. I just think of Orange Track. I've got some in my house, so anybody can collect these. I don't care what your budget is. It just made it accessible to all. So I thought we'd have more kids in it, but it was all adults. Our next class is weapons grade, and that's race cars. And this went out to Patrick Shalleck for his Audi Quattro S1, or more correct, as he states, E2, because of where it raced. The winning car of the 1985 Rally San Remo with Walter Rohr and co-driver Christian Goldesdorf. This is one of those cars that looks like a real car.
Yeah, and you're right. He loves this Walter Rohr and Christian Geisdorfer rally combo. And this car was really beautifully done. It was stunning, absolutely stunning. So.
And it's textbook. He tells the story. He photographs it amazingly well. He's really into it. You can tell the way he tells the story that he's really into this history. And
knows his rally history, and then he's reproducing historic moments with these cars, with these scale models. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
Class 12 is called Misfit Toys. The Illicit Club 11R wins the Island of Misfit Toys. So first of all, a Citroen, even a Citroen that was thought too unconventional, has to be amazing or horrible. And secondly, the finest of French engineering combined with Romanian-built quality that costs less than a 2CV. This car had to be spectacularly bad. It's like that die-cast with only one known example of the car in any scale, and I can't see a way that any survived more than a few days after leaving the factory.
Yeah, I'm with it. I mean, that thing, I never even heard of, I'm an automotive journalist. I've never heard of this car. I bet none would survive.
Yeah.
So, except for this little diecast. And who thought they'd sell a lot of these?
No, who knows how many they did sell. And like you said, who knows how many are left or that are still around. So congratulations for that one. Yeah,
or the dubious honor of winning the Misfits Toy Award.
Island of Misfit Toys, I love it.
Island of Misfit Toys. The next award is from the PCA, and it's Vu Gwen picks this himself. It goes to Mark Starr, again, a first-time entrant, for his 356A in brass. And it's a crazy thing. It's actually a brass model of a 356A, and it's really, really nice. And Vu just fell in love with it, I think, because it's kind of interesting and odd. And Vu's interesting and odd. So if you know Vu, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you do see these brass models. I don't know if they're dealer promotional items or if they were kind of more of like a paperweight as opposed to a scale car, but they're interesting. So that's a neat one. I haven't seen one of those before.
Agreed.
I've actually seen a trophy topper that was a 356, so maybe he converted a trophy top, possibly.
Except there's a little more detail, though, in that thing. It's interesting. So
that's a good point. Our Sports Car Market Award, presented by Keith Martin, that award goes to Paul Creed for his Maserati Tipo 420 M/58, better known as El Dorado.
Famous car.
Yeah. A pretty good one to win for Sports Car Market prize.
Yeah, it kind of aimed at Keith with obscure Italian, interesting, great history, all of that, and a first-time entrant again, which fascinates me after this many rounds of this concours.
It's nice to see.
Yes. Our next award is from Magneto Magazine. It's picked by David Lillywhite, and this goes to Jim Menengo for his Ferrari Daytona. And if they hadn't picked it, I probably would, because I've owned 2 of those in full-scale size and really liked the Daytona, and he did a really, really, really nice job.
Daytona is a really cool car. My dad had one when I was a kid, and I wish I still had it. They're fantastic. So
They,
congratulations.
they were my favorite. It was the dream car I always wanted. And when I first got it, first thing I did was drive it to Monterey. So, I mean,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Well, let's keep going. We have the Dirk DeJager Photography Award, and that goes to, oh my gosh, Patrick Chalik again for his 1/64 scale Porsche 911. So obviously a 964 variant, a Singer variant of the Porsche 911, what we would call reimagined by Singer.
yes.
And that's a 1/64 scale model, which, if you don't know, that is basically Hot Wheels size or Matchbox size.
And he built it. Did you see that? He built a set for it.
Really, really nicely done. Beautiful set too. I mean, honestly, it fools you into thinking that's a much larger car than it is because of the work he did to make that set look so
It's
good.
that big, you know. I mean, it's tiny, and it looks like it's a full size diecast or better. So
I think what's your guess, Andy? Is he spending more time on the set design and the models, or on the actual vehicle itself?
I think that's an out of the box vehicle, and he simply built that set around it, and then lit the heck out of it, and lit it amazingly well, and then shot it amazingly well.
Yeah,
So,
really, really well done.
and he's had to do like focus stacking because there's no way you have that much depth of field with a lens that close with this. It just won't do. You know what lenses do? It won't do that. So he's taken multiple shots and merged them with that, or used it, or bought a camera that does focus stacking and built in. So that was just an amazing presentation for a tiny car.
That's why you win a photography award.
Yes. Okay, the next one is mine. It's the Chairman's Award, and I get to pick anything. And I was stuck between two cars. One of them I saw race. One of them I wish I could have seen race. And the one I chose was Scott Phillips, 2001-2002 Bentley Speed 8 Le Mans winner. When that car came out, I was just blown away. I remember when my wife and I were married, we did our honeymoon at the Savoy, and when they won Le Mans, just like they did in the old days, they actually rolled that car into the Savoy Hotel ballroom. So, which is like a no-no there, but they used to do it in the old days, and they decided to recreate it after they won, and that was like 2 months before we were there on our honeymoon.
It was a cool car. To me, it was the first Bentley that looked like a fast car in a long time. You know, Bentley's kind of got pudgy and slow and, kind of almost like Rolls-Royce light. I don't mean to be cruel to them, but they lost their way for a while. And I think that car kind of put them back on the map and said, hey, we have a racing heritage we want to lean back into. And
yeah, and Tom Christensen drove it to victory for, I think it was number 3 or 4 of his 9 at that point.
He's a pretty good driver. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever watched any Goodwood, but watch him at Goodwood Revival racing like a Ford Galaxy with the muffler falling off. There is nobody better.
He's astounding. I mean, nine times at Le Mans. It's astounding. He has a new book out too, which is kind of cool. So
nice guy on top of it. So
yep. Spirit of Isolation Island Concours.
There it is. You're right. There's one more. All right. So yes.
And this goes out to a person who has entered this concours many, many, many times and hasn't won their class. But this time, she was second in 2 classes, but not first. And so it goes out to Jenny Luna Cooper for her Franklin Mint 1955 Bentley S1. And she tells great stories about her car. She's seriously attached to them. She names them. They all have their own little special names and their own little stories around it. So she tells a story about the car, but also her story with that car, maybe better than anybody else that's entered the concours. She's just really passionate about it, and I feel like she is well deserved of this award. So
cool. Well, there is one left. It's the best of show. Would you like to announce that one?
You're the
all right. Here we go.
Judge.
Our best of show will go to a name that you might recognize by now. Yes, it's Patrick Chalik again. This time for his Audi Quattro S1. That car, the one that we talked about earlier, the 1985 San Remo Rally winner. That car is just stunning. It's a beautiful model, beautifully photographed, cool car. If you're a kid who grew up in the 80s like Andy or I did, you understand why this car is so significant. And he just did a great job on it. And to me, it was just stunning. Beautiful model, beautifully photographed, exciting. It actually made you want to see one in the flesh. And I just really commend Patrick for his great work.
Yeah, he did a great job, and that is a car that tugs at my heart because I remember reading Road and Track when we were kids in high school going, I need one of those.
Yes, when Audi rewrote the rules for rally and said, is 4-wheel drive illegal? I don't think it should be. Let's take that rule out.
and then they got kicked out. Much like their situation with the R8, they win and win and win, and everybody goes, okay, go home, and they go,
Change
okay,
the rules. Change the rules.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, congratulations to Patrick, to all the winners. Honestly, and congratulations to you, Andy, because Isolation Island Concours has gone from just some, fun cars, some neat stuff that people photographed at their home, pulled off the shelf and photographed, to really a world-class event for scale models for diecast. I don't think anything else is quite to the level that you've taken it, so congratulations.
The interesting thing was it went international so fast, and from the beginning, we had people from Germany and Belgium initially, and then we had people from India, and it kind of just went nuts. And I never expected it to go international immediately, but it really did. And people had a lot of fun. I think I just did it so people could have fun and have something to do, because none of us were doing anything but work last year. So
yeah, I feel honored to be a past winner myself. Didn't expect that to come, but you do a great job curating it. It's neat to get this little miniature award that fits to the scale of your car, and that is probably displayed next to my diecast, so thank you.
Nice. Very, very happy. And thanks for joining me, Jay. I really, really appreciate you doing it. And you've been involved pretty much since the beginning. I really appreciate you being involved and being a sounding board for things as well.
Yeah, happy to do it, and hope you keep it going with or without pandemic.
Yeah, I think we're gonna put it on pause for now because we're all so busy. So sorry, guys, we are gonna put it on pause. Jay's going to Amelia. I've got events coming up. We're all starting to travel again, but we will be back in the fall at latest, without a question. So
cool. All right, we'll see you on the road.
Thank the judges. Thank the sponsors for going through us for 9 rounds of this. It couldn't have been done without you. And the judges also made, like you, Jay, have made this as exceptional as it was, because we brought top tier talent in the judging pool to a tiny little car concours. So
yeah, well done.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Well, goodbye from the Isolation Island Concours, and we'll see you soon. I'd also like to thank our judges, without whom this concours wouldn't have been possible, because they added their experience and their love of the car hobby in general to make it as special as it was. And it really put us over the top from other things like this. They include Mr. Bill Warner, founder and chairman of the Amelia Island Concours; David Beatty, the founder of Slot Mods; 3-time IndyCar champion and Indianapolis 500 winner, Mr. Bobby Rahal; Michael Furman, world-famous photographer of automobiles and creator of amazing books; Mr. Dirk DeJager, world-famous automotive photographer and my co-chairman of the Concours; Nick Smith, founder of ClassicAvenue.com and former member of Bonham's staff; McCall Events founder, Mr. Gordon McCall; Eric Keller, owner and founder of Enthusiast Auto Group, the place to go for the best BMWs on the planet; Mr. Thomas Plazinski, head of BMW Group Product Communications; Ray Schaefer of Porsche Classic; Vu Gwen, the executive director of the Porsche Club of America; Fairfield Concours founder, Mr. Bill Scheffler; Keith Martin, founder of Sports Car Market Magazine; Paul Russell, owner and founder of Paul Russell & Company; racing legend, Mr. David Hobbs; Alan Galbraith, the chief wingnut and founder of the Concours de Le Mans; David Lillywhite, editor and co-founder of Magneto Magazine; John Sacamino, owner of Sport and Specialty Restorations; automotive journalist, Mr. Massimo Delbo; Hot Wheels designer, Brendan Matuski. He's a new one for us, and he really gave us a lot of time, and he's got a special gift for our Concours entrance too, so stay tuned. Mr. Rob Moran, director of corporate communications at Mercedes-Benz; Michael Kunz, manager of Mercedes-Benz Classic Center in the U.S.; Lance Miller, co-owner of Carlisle Events; Mr. Ken Gross, noted automotive author and hot rod expert; John Nikas, another noted automotive author and a tremendous expert on British cars. He has a new book coming out about every month. Mark Hamilton Peters, professional race car driver and the best dressed man in the paddock; noted automotive photographer Michael Allen Ross, who just did the Porsche design issue. Those are all his photographs. It's amazing work. And Trent Abbott of Haggerty Private Client Services.